Whakaalofalaiatu, good evening and welcome to tonight's bulletin of BCN News. Leading the news tonight, Premier Dalton Tangilangi says that there is still no set date yet on when the vaccine against COVID-19 will be rolled out here on Niue. He says that his preference, of course, is to begin the vaccination rollout as soon as possible. Premier Tangilangi says that the government's preferred vaccine against COVID-19 is the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, which is being rolled out now in New Zealand. The Premier says that he will be able to update on when the vaccine rollout is likely to take place as soon as they receive confirmation from New Zealand. Meanwhile, the Director General of Social Services, Gayleen Tasmania, and the Director of Health, Dr. Eddie Akaola, have been in meetings with officials in Wellington this week to discuss the logistics on the rollout of the vaccine. When asked for comments on the progress of the Cook Islands two-way quarantine-free travel, which will begin on the 17th of this month, Premier Tangilangi told BCN News that he is interested in learning from the experience of the Cook Islands, but he is somewhat surprised to hear that they are going ahead before vaccination. But he says that is the prerogative of the Cook Islands to decide. Premier Dalton Tangilangi says Niue's preference is vaccination first before we can even look at a two-way quarantine-free travel. And a total of 36 submissions were received in response to the call for the review of the Constitution. The Constitution Review Committee, chaired by the Common Roll member Honourable Olaf Jacobson, held a meeting this morning to go through those submissions. The submissions were initially due at 4 p.m. on the 30th of April, but permission was granted by the chairperson of the committee to extend this deadline to allow the members of the public more time to send in their submissions. There were 4 submissions from overseas, and of the 36 submissions received, 2 were written in the Wangahau Niue. BCN News will continue to update on the progress of the Constitution Review Committee as they continue with their work. The Air New Zealand flight due in on Tuesday was cancelled, but it arrived yesterday afternoon. The disruption to the flight affected 37 passengers from Niue to Auckland and 28 passengers from Auckland to Niue. Air New Zealand's local agent Peleni's Travel told BCN News that the flight was cancelled after the repairs to the netting in the cargo hold of the aircraft took quite a while. By the time it was completed, it was quite late, so the pilot made the decision to cancel the flight until the next day. Passengers from New Zealand said that they were given food vouchers and told to take their luggage back home. The flight arrived just before 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And staying with passengers and flights, the government has confirmed that there are no available rooms at the quarantine facility at home office until mid-July. This is also leading to an increase in the number of home quarantine and stretching resources needed for quarantine purposes. Here's more on that story. Officials from the Office of External Affairs have confirmed that there are no available rooms at the government's quarantine facility until mid-July. Government officials are asking that residents intending to travel to New Zealand should firstly contact their office to ensure they have a room to quarantine when they return home. The National Disaster Management Office has also confirmed that they are now seeing an increase in the number of home quarantine as compared to previous flights. There are 7 properties around the island approved for home quarantine for some of the passengers who arrived on yesterday's flight. The criteria for home quarantine has also raised questions over the rights of homeowners to quarantine in their own homes if they have met all the criteria. However, there are villages around the island who have petitioned that there be no home quarantine in their villages. It is also unclear at this point whether the government will add more quarantine facilities in addition to the 10 units currently available at the Home Office Matawai apartments. On Friday last week, there was problems to the power generation on the island. The very low voltage caused the primary engine to shut down forcing a power outage to most of the island. The Niue Power technicians worked through the night until the power was restored to the whole island at 3 a.m. on Saturday morning. While the team of technicians at the power station were trying to remedy the situation, one of the fuel lines burst, which added to the problem. The issues were also further exacerbated by the overcast, cloudy weather, limiting the solar power production capacity to charge the Tesla battery system, or BESS. In order to safeguard the Tesla battery system, it was decided to reduce the island load by shutting down 80% of the national grid, forcing power outage to the majority of the island, except for Kaimisi to the hospital and Tuila to central Alofi. This enabled the Niue Power technicians to correct the bus voltage to the engines, and power was restored to the whole island by 3 a.m. on Saturday morning. Andre Siohane, the Director General of the Ministry of Infrastructure, said that they are still operating on the 2 generators, as the third and new generator has yet to be commissioned for use. Siohane says that an engineer from Terra Cat will be travelling to Niue on the next flight, and all is confirmed to commission the new third engine. The engineer will also check on the voltage issues and will be working on the Power Smart integration system. Going forward, the Ministry of Infrastructure and Niue Power are asking the public to please continue to conserve energy. And Niue's official tropical cyclone season for 2020-2021 has officially ended on the 30th of April, the cyclone season which started on the 1st of November last year. According to the Niue Met Office, the possibility of cyclones forming outside of the cyclone season is very rare, but it's not impossible. In a press statement from the Niue Met Service this week, Director Rosie Misiapo says that we still need to remain vigilant and be well prepared at all times, and particularly with disseminating severe weather information in a timely manner. Rosie Misiapo says that the high seas and damaging swells seemed more pronounced associated with cyclones impacting Niue in this La Nina phase. She says that we are reminded of our vulnerability to storm surges during the cyclones, especially for residents living along the west coast of the island. During the past cyclone season, 2020-2021, there were 10 tropical disturbances. 4 of these developed into tropical cyclones, and only 1 developed into a severe tropical cyclone. These tropical cyclones include 2 in December of last year, with Tropical Cyclone Yasa, a Category 4, and Category 2 Tropical Cyclone Sazu. There were also 2 cyclones in the January-February period, with Category 1 Cyclone Ana and Category 1 as well, Tropical Cyclone Bina. And that's our bulletin of BCN News for tonight. Join us again on Tuesday next week for our bulletin in Wangahau. Until then, you have a lovely weekend. Morning and